All right, so before the podcast starts, there's been a few issues. The green screen didn't look as well because we have to kind of crop two videos together to make the one. So we will be working on that and testing before we do the next week's episode, but it's up nonetheless. You can listen to it on Spotify, so you don't have to watch it, but yeah, we'll be making improvements and trying to make it look as good as we can. Enjoy. So this is the second episode of Sometimes We Sleep on Branches. The first episode was quite good. We obviously introed ourselves and tabula rasa, the meaning behind the podcast. A few people listened, gave good kind of feedback, which was good. So it's good to know people listening and people enjoyed the first one. And people just want to know more about us, more about what we get up to. I suppose the routines, how we actually do things, what we do, why we do it, you know, how people can get started on some of the things we talk about. So this episode, we kind of want to focus on the comfort zone, which is a big one for people, stepping out your comfort zone. What is the comfort zone? Everybody's comfort zone is different. We've just been for a cold dip, so we went down every Saturday, Dundee Dip Club.
Beach.
We go down to Ferry Beach. Dundee Dip Club is the name of the wee group that we started. So
Which is growing in size. I think every week we've kind of got, or every
this
second
week
we've
was the
got a few
busiest.
new faces, yeah.
9 people this week. So double digits is the goal, I think. And I think a big goal is like 20 people. We'd love if everybody that came at 10 brought one extra person, we'd have that many. So it's getting there as it gets warmer. No surprise, people are kind of come as it gets warmer, but people
I think when we
dropping
started it in December and like the sand was icy, people were a bit like, yeah, no thank you.
It was quite
Bit mental.
choppy waters as well.
Yeah.
I think so we wanted to go speak about the comfort zone, why it's different for everyone. So for some people, we've said this before, getting up at 5 a.m. and going for a run and doing your training, prepping your meals before you start work at say 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock is hard for someone to do. It might not be so hard for someone else. So comfort zone is very different for different people.
Everyone's at a different starting point and everyone's lives are so different, so that's why comfort zone is so different.
Yeah, and cold water is it's probably the best example because there's not a single person before they start doing cold dips
They'll say they like it. Everyone's kind of got that bit of a fear about it, and you are completely out your comfort zone because it's pretty cold. And then like the cold showers and stuff, they're quite good at getting you prepared almost for a cold dip. But even then, I feel like it's still not the same as just plunging yourself into a cold sea or an ice bath.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy.
No.
And we see after people come in now, it definitely helps having a group because there's people that have been once or twice that are doing 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, when you go by yourself, it's easier just to get in, get your shoulders under, kind of control your breathing, and like, right, I'll get out. Or when you've got that group of people, you can kind of get chatting to them, and then like when you said you were going to stand for 15 minutes, and then we got to 16 and a half, and you're like, well, might as well stay for 20.
Chris was getting out at 5 minutes. I thought, I'll get out at 5 with Chris, Don't want to be too cold going to train. I thought, right, okay, 5 minutes is good. Got to 5 and I thought, I'll just stay a wee bit longer.
No one else is getting
Got
out.
to 10 minutes, yeah, no one else is getting out. Got to 10 minutes, I was like, all right, I'll just stay in after 10 minutes. And then next thing you know, it's 16 minutes, 30 seconds. 20.
Might as well do 20. We've done 20 a few times.
I want to be the last one out. Let everyone out go out so I can be the last one.
Yeah, I was swimming about it and you didn't get out till I got out.
Yeah, it's the cold water is a good thing. There's obviously health benefits behind it, but the reason we say about the comfort zone, it's about doing things that, in that moment in time, like getting in the cold shower first thing in the morning. You're not going to enjoy the actual experience every single time you do it, but right after and the day after, and maybe.
Well, the more consistent you are with it, then over time you start feeling the benefits of it.
You don't necessarily enjoy the task so much that you're doing at that time, at the start. Don't get me wrong, now you get to enjoy it, but it's doing things that in the future it's going to benefit you rather than things that benefit you at that moment in time. And that's what taking yourself out of the comfort zone, it helps build character, build discipline. So that's why I think
used to getting out of your comfort zone with one thing. So say you started doing the cold showers, it's easier to then step out your comfort zone for other things because you've kind of done it once. It's like learning one skill, other skills.
Well, it's such a high stress, right? That's Wim Hof spoke about that. You put your body under such a high stress, and people forget your skin's the biggest organ in your body, right? So it needs health remedies and things that you need to help it with, just like any other organ, right? So for skin, cold temperatures and hot temperatures, so a sauna or an ice bath, are both good things for the body. And I think the cold water, it's 100% mental. It's all in the head, which is what we spoke about. The brain is the controller. Getting in the cold water, while it's a physical task, as in you're walking into cold water, your feet start getting cold, then your knees, and then you get the middle of your body under, which is the biggest shock for a lot of people.
Well, I think kind of getting the chest area and can be quite tough for people as well.
I think the hardest is staying in just the ankles. I wouldn't be able to do 20 minutes.
No. Well, that's because your feet are just in, and I feel like your feet are cold, and then the rest of your body's out and kind of bit in the wind, and you're just thinking more about how cold it's going to be once you get fully under. But I was like, when we went and saw Anne Middleton, and he said, like, for most people, it's that mental barrier that stops them doing things. Like, if they can get over that mental hurdle, their body will adapt.
But when you're in the water, when you're speaking to people and you forget about the task at hand, it actually gets a bit easier. Obviously, you're not going to forget you're cold. But when you sit there and you're not speaking to anyone, and all you're doing is thinking, this is so cold, this is freezing, it makes it worse. It does. When you start chatting to people and you start laughing, and the next thing you know, it's 2 minutes have passed. You know what I mean?
I think when you get to like the 5 minute mark, your body, it doesn't, obviously it's still cold, but it's not that same initial shock of the cold, and your body's kind of gotten used to it.
That's it. So building up time. Now we wanted to explain why we do it and what the benefits are for us. So I think doing it consistently is a big thing. Like, obviously we do the dip once a week. Some days we're away or whatever, you don't get to do it. But cold showers, we do it every morning. No, I like to do it first thing in the morning. This is different from person to person.
Yeah, I prefer to get up and kind of journal, read a little bit, and then go for a cold shower. Like, before my day actually starts, but I don't like doing it as the first thing.
So I think if I start my day with the hardest thing, a hard task, which is the cold shower, it also wakes me up. I feel like no matter how good your sleep is and stuff, you get up in the morning, it takes everyone a little bit of time to wake up. You're not like, you're jumping out. So I think that your cold shower, you're pretty awake after as soon as it touches your skin, really. That's you're awake. You have the clock, you work your time up. So the way to really build up to getting to be able to do cold showers, we were speaking about this today in the water, is don't just assume that because you can't do the coldest setting on the shower, that's you. I'm failing. Just literally start off with a hot shower as you usually would, then just turn
very gradually,
gradually get to a point that you can go, okay, I can stay here for a bit, right? Do a minute, 2 minutes there. The next day, all you have to do is go a centimetre, not even a centimetre, just to know that you've gone a
tiny little bit more. I think a lot of people tend to think, I'm going for a cold shower, right? Put it right to like as cold as it can go and just hop in, and then it kind of scars people almost. And they're like, not doing that again.
The first time I did that a few years ago was I'd been hot, and then I'd put it all the way down to cold, and then it touched my skin, and I'd turn it out.
Yeah, you kind of get right.
And I'd be like, yeah, that's me awoken. And then now I'm just like, over probably the space of 15-20 seconds, I get down to the bottom, and then I do 2 minutes, and I'm like, it's a lot less of a shock. Don't get me wrong, jumping into cold water, the shock of it going from 0 to 100.
Yeah, you're never not going to have that shock. You just kind of get better at dealing with the shock.
It's just gradually go, and then until you're at the bottom, and then find the bottom, and then just stay there for 2 minutes. And 2 minutes is the recommended amount.
Yeah.
And it's crazy what it can do. So the mental changes for you. If you start off your day with such a hard task, all the other tasks in your day seem so much easier.
Yeah.
Because you're like, it's not even, I did a cold shower today, so I can do this. You don't think like that. It's just, you'll notice over time, as the weeks go on, you start doing more. You don't lie on the couch when you come in and watch TV or whatever, instead of doing the hard thing you do. You maybe do everything starts changing less and less.
I feel like your actual mindset towards things starts changing when you consistently step out your comfort zone and do things that aren't very the cold showers aren't pleasant, but you keep stepping out your comfort zone. You don't even realise how it's changing how you look at things and how your kind of attitude towards doing any daily task.
it changes a lot.
Yeah.
I think people don't realise.
Well, even with like the part-time jobs, like I used to go in, I'd always be like, I cannot be bothered with this, and go in with like a negative kind of outlook towards doing the job. And since kind of stepping out the comfort zone more, I go into it more just like, it is what it is, like I'm just gonna get it done and get out of here kind of thing.
I think a lot of people think it's a day off as well. If they have a day off in the week and they take this as the day they can, oh well, the rest of my week I'm doing all this. I'm gonna fix that and keep going. You touch the table?
You touched the table, you popped your hands on it. You're going like this.
It's still going, we're all good. There we go. Everything fell down. We're all good. It's not very stable. That'll do. I'll have to crop it. We're back.
That's all good.
I'm all good. I stood on. We've got a bit of a setup here, so this is the whole comfort zone thing. We could literally do this up on the couches, but we thought, no, we'll put the green screen up. We'll crop it around. We've got 2 lights pointing at us. We've got the iPad set up with a water bottle. We've got the phone pointing across on a tripod. We've got a green screen stretched across the squat rack and
the kind of squat rack right at our feet here.
And then I've just crushed my toe off the squat rack. So going out the comfort zone sometimes provides pros and cons.
Doesn't make life easy in the moment, but worth it in the long run.
That's we know it gets the podcast up, and it's ideally, I don't like the editing side of things. I don't mind it. I quite kind of enjoy the site. I just think it takes up a bit of time. So I enjoy doing it, and you see it. Oh, I've done a bit of work, cool. But I'd rather be doing other stuff. I'd rather be reading or doing something kind of more focused on things I'm highly interested in rather than something that's not. But we know if we do this at the moment, whilst it's uncomfortable, down the line, we could just, they could have a video editor, that kind of thing. 2 cameras, microphones, a setup, that kind of thing. But
bit more space in the setup.
bit more space. And then we can get guests in. So that's all coming. That'll all come in time once we're progressing slowly. But yeah, we're doing the uncomfortable things now, and it'll hopefully pay off eventually. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm trying to see so say if you already do cold showers, you already do cold dips. That might not necessarily be
your way of stepping out.
The way of
you
stepping
already
out
have that in your
routine. Because it's already in your routine, yeah. So
you can get creative with how you're stepping out your comfort
what other
zone.
ways for people that want to step out of the comfort zone, and that's quite easy, or they're not quite ready to do that yet? Well, that should be a thing.
Well,
Anybody can turn a shower down and be cold up, but for the sake of someone not being able to do that, what would be other things? Obviously, looking at kind of previous.
Well, it depends on the person, like the individual person, because like I have a client who loves the cold dips, but doesn't really feels comfortable in the gym. So even going into the gym 4 times a week could be stepping out your comfort zone. There's so many different ways of doing it, and I think it's so specific to that individual person. It could be not watching Netflix quite as much as they did last week. I think a lot of people, when they get home from work, it's like, right, I need to just chill out and just sit down on the couch and watch Netflix.
And when you say that, a lot of people get offended because they think, oh, it's fine for me to chill, whatever. But the problem is, if you've got things you should be doing, or things that you've been putting off for a while, say you have a hobby or a passion, and you have a full-time job, and you have a passion that should be the kind of hours that you're not in your full-time job, and you're spending that working, or no, not working, and just watching TV, scrolling, this is where it's a problem. In general, scrolling for hours, it's not going to be good for you. No. And watching hours and hours on Netflix isn't good for you. And it is addictive. It's kind of
like if you go for one cold dip, you're not going to instantly feel the massive rewards from it. So if you sit and watch TV for 1 hour, you're not going to instantly feel the kind of way it drains you, if that makes sense.
It's like with TV, we have the TV. We don't
really use it much.
It gets
used.
You
use it for football and.
Well, I don't even use it for football because I try and do other stuff whilst it's on, because it's not been that great to watch recently. No. So I've just kind of put it on in the background, done other stuff, or I'm eating. I try and time it so I'm doing other things because I know it's taking up like a couple hours really. So with that TV, we don't use. We've probably used it. I'd say. I mean, when we did use it, we'd use it for an hour. But the thing is, because it's so late, it's like 8 or 9. I say late. It's like 8 or 9 o'clock at
That's
night
like for us.
on a Saturday, and we're like, oh, we'll plan. We'll just do it. If it's not nice or whatever, we'll watch something. And we get through 60 minutes, and then we're both sleeping. So we're like, turn it off, go to bed. So we're like, whereas I just think back to when I was 14, 15, 16.
I could sit in bed for hours upon hours just watching Netflix, episode after episode.
And it was comfortable. But I think back, I think I could have been spending my time more wisely. And knowing that now, that's why I try and tell people, you've got something you could be doing. You've got a passion or a hobby. Don't like, oh, but I'm tired, or this is...
The thing is, if you get out and do a hobby that you enjoy, you're not going to feel tired. If you sit on the couch watching TV, that's going to make you feel more tired. Or you get out, say you like skateboarding, you get out and do skateboarding for half an hour, even if it is just half an hour, you've had fresh air, you've moved about, you'll come back, you'll feel good with yourself, and you'll actually feel more energised.
And it comes into diet, you know, it goes with the diet. People saying they're tired, and it's like, well, you've got to look at the diet. Is your diet actually the main cause?
Even in diet could be comfort zone as well. If you're constantly kind of like emotionally eating, that's you staying in this comfort zone.
Eating foods you find
like instant.
It's instant. You get gratified instantly. So you get that instant gratification. You feel happy for 60 seconds. You're eating these cakes or whatever.
Like, don't get me wrong. See, when it's like coming up to my period and I have a bit of chocolate cake, oh, I feel great. But then the period hits, and then the pains that come with it, I'm like, it just was not worth it.
No, I mean, we probably eat a lot of fruit now, which is probably like, I'd say 95 to 99% of the sweet food we have comes from that. And we eat fruit. Oh, we had a big tray last night.
That was good. Dates and butter. Oh my days, butter. I love it.
We had oranges, mango, and you have all this fruit, and you're like, this is unreal. And you feel good eating it. You feel good after.
Well, I feel satisfied as well when I eat. Like, I have a major sweet tooth, but I feel like when I eat that, like, it does satisfy it. Like, I don't then feel the need to then go and get chocolate.
There's so many fruits.
Yeah.
There's so many fruits. If you don't like one fruit, there'll be a fruit you do like. It doesn't have to be... Now, there's a lot of fruits. I probably used to say I didn't like this fruit, didn't like that fruit. Vegetables, to me, I noticed it. I used to say fruits and vegetables and put them in the same category. Fruits and vegetables are in two very different categories. Well, because they get kind of bunched together. Well,
fruit always digests well for me, but a lot of vegetables don't, like onions on my days. That really messes. Yeah, tomatoes. Well, they make you really unwell.
Yeah, I've had illnesses. When I used to have tonsillitis every week, on and off I think I had it 11 times in 1 year. Now it was on for a week, off for a week. I'd have one good week, and then I would wake up one day, throat was tickling.
You know it's coming.
It was coming back again. And I didn't realise now it was stress related, lifestyle related. I thought, I'm just unlucky. I'd speak to people, oh yeah, I just got my tonsils out and now I'm all good. It was just my tonsils. I'm thinking, we get born with tonsils. It can't be just you just need your tonsils removed. I'm like, it's not an easy surgery, is it? No. So I'm thinking, there's something I'm doing now that's contributing to that. No, I haven't had tonsillitis. I don't think I've had it since. I think 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah. Well, even then you don't really get unwell as much as...
Well, even when I get sick, if I got sick, I think last time I was probably sick was Valentine's Day, right?
Oh, because we went out
for food, and then we had a bad meal.
Yeah, there wasn't much of it, and we can eat a lot, to be fair. It was tiny portions.
We wanted steak kind of things.
But we thought we'd go out for dessert afterwards, and I think we got
3 desserts.
We got 3 desserts and shared it, and we're not used to eating even one dessert.
I was eating a lot, and then we went away that week.
The following weekend
we went away, and then eating foods that weren't usual, and then eating kind of just other stuff, drinking as well. We had a few drinks, and then, oh my days, I was in bed, I was ill.
I think for a full week you were kind of just laying on the couch because I just can't. It was that kind of where you felt too tired, you just, your body felt run down, and it was all just from the food that we ate.
And it wasn't even that much. I look at what some people eat, and their diet's not as bad as that every single day, but it's consistently over the kind of weeks.
So then if you're saying that you're really tired all the time...
Oh, unless you're having 4 hours sleep a night, your diet 100% affects that.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, it's like when you have a big bowl of pasta.
And then the carb kind of overload you feel, yeah.
You're having a curry or something. People have curry, they have naan bread and all this other stuff with it. And then they're and like the amount of times we've had, you get those food babies, and like
Well, the
it
thing is,
protrudes out by like 7 inches, and you look like pregnant, and you're like, this is not normal, surely.
your body shouldn't be bloating in that way. I get that bloat can be normal, but not to that extent. If what you're eating is causing your stomach to actually protrude that much, that's not healthy or normal. Like the body's not working properly. Digestion, something's wrong with it. If
I would
that's
say
the response.
if your diet's bad or if you've got gut issues, doing anything outside your comfort zone, I'd probably say will actually be so difficult for you to start off with. Like if I was eating the way I was back then, I wouldn't be in a mind frame to eat because I was constantly sick, and I see that with clients that are sick a lot. They're the ones that are least likely to go down to the cold dip. They're not no way they're going down to the cold dip because they're always sick, and with the sickness, every week you're ill, you've got the cold, you pick up a cold. Like,
So you naturally won't want to be.
You don't want to be going into
stepping
cold
out,
water, no, and you feel constantly stressed. You're always unwell, tired, drained. You get a cold shower. I ain't gonna turn my cold shower to cold. Why would I do that? I've got a hot shower.
Yeah, when your body's not well, because like on Monday I was sick, and going for the cold shower the Tuesday morning felt so much more difficult than normal just because I was unwell the night before.
Which was odd.
Yeah.
We'll probably speak about that in another podcast. It wasn't food related. It was
That's a different topic.
But yeah, maybe next week, since we've mentioned it, we'll speak about that kind of thing.
Yeah. But I think the diet is definitely a huge thing because like obviously I had the eating disorder growing up, and when I started with you and started eating way more, like started PTing with you and started eating way more meat, like I never had that bloated feeling, and like that honestly I felt healed the eating disorder so much
when
more.
we're sick and we get the beef liver in, we'll get beef liver. When if we've gone away for a weekend, we've had hangover or whatever, I came back, first thing I did, got off the train,
get liver,
straight to the butcher, got some steak, got some beef liver.
That's when it's hardest to eat though, I feel.
When
like it's hardest to get that down, but you feel the reward that your body has from it afterwards, because it's like you just kind of feel like you've just taken a load of nutrients into your body after depriving yourself of them pretty much.
Well, for people that we'll speak about beef liver and diet in its own kind of special episode because there's so much to talk about, but beef liver
There's a few episodes in that, I think.
It's the one thing that I think including into my diet like weekly.
Well, mine the first time we had it, and that week was probably one of the most productive weeks we've had.
Well, that's when we started doing stuff with tabula rasa. We were like, well, say about the diet, we'll try the beef liver, and it was amazing. We had it, I think we ate quite a lot of it. We've realised that the people that do eat it regularly aren't eating half as much as what we were eating, so we kind of
eating lots of it,
and we found it hard to get through sometimes. We'd get probably like 85% of the way through, and we'd be like, oh, we can't get through this 15%, and then we realised we were eating 4 or 5 times the amount that some people, they're just eating a tiny amount.
Well, the amount of vitamins and like nutrients that are in it, you really don't need to be eating all that much. Well, how much is it Paul Saladino eats a day? Because he doesn't...
I think he eats an ounce, which is only 28 grams, or a
we
couple
were eating
ounces.
like 100 grams a day each.
Well, we were getting 500 grams. It was lasting about 550 grams, and it was lasting like 2-3 days.
And that's between the two of us.
So we were eating a lot of it. It was good. It feels good. You have steak, liver, bacon, this kind of thing. You feel leaner. You feel healthier. You're happier. It's the change that diet brings to your mental health.
Yeah, diet is a huge thing for mental health, and I think once you kind of nail that and your mental health improves, then stepping out the comfort zone becomes so much easier. Like I probably wouldn't have done half the things I've done now if I hadn't changed my diet.
Well, it's even all these things that we're doing. The podcast, like a lot of people start podcasts and it's quite daunting. The first episode, you kind of finding your feet, that kind of thing. We probably will, as we go on, get more comfortable, but it's still uncomfortable. I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable.
Oh, having cameras pointed at us and lights on us right now, this is giving me the fear.
So it will get easier.
Yeah.
It just takes time. I think we've done a lot of stuff this year that we've never done before. I feel like there's a lot of things I still want to do. I'd like to go try cold dips in different places, like going camping, doing cold dips there, swimming in lakes, that kind of thing, cliff diving, that kind of stuff, jumping off.
Yeah.
Off big...
The cliff diving kind of gives me the fear though, because I'm just like, you're just jumping off. Like, I'm not scared of heights, but it's like the going into the water part. But then again, that's stepping out your comfort zone. So I would do it. I'm probably terrified to do it, but
there's obviously safety aspects to it and things like that. But yeah, you try and be positive about things. And that's the thing with going into doing stuff like this. If you're doing something that's uncomfortable, now we spoke about training early in the mornings, getting up early. For some people, that's the biggest thing. I used to be an oversleeper. Waking up at 2 p.m. for me was like irregular when I was at college, that kind of thing. I was sleeping late, waking up late. And I think back to why I was doing it, and I see people doing it now. And I think, well, what was the mindset I was in? It wasn't good. My diet was bad. I was stressed. I wasn't dealing with the stress well. Everything felt so difficult. And I think back and I was like, it was a relatively easy life, really. Everything felt hard.
Like back when, like for you in that situation, back from me when I was younger, when I felt like everything was harder, my actual life then was so much easier. There was way less stress.
It's less responsibility, but I feel like for a lot of guys nowadays, they don't have as much responsibility, and there's I suppose it's kind of like bro science. You take on a lot of responsibility. That's where you change. You physically, like how you look, how you act, how you speak to people, how your skills, your social skills, all these kind of fears you have can actually all change from basically just improving yourself, taking on more responsibility.
Essentially, taking on more responsibility is stepping out your comfort zone, and out of the comfort zone is where growth happens. So that's why all these things will change.
I mean, 100 years ago, people used to go, 16-year-olds would be working in mines, that kind of thing, lying to go to war, and run on the beach with a gun in their hand. And you think now there's people, like, it's easier said than done. It's not like everybody's perfect, that kind of thing. There's probably still people back then, but I guarantee the percentages of men back then that kind of had responsibilities was a lot lower than it is now.
A lot higher.
A lot higher. A lot lower now. Like, the responsibilities that people have now are nowhere near as much as then. And you look at, like, we were saying this the other day, the statistics came out about, I think it's the first decade where women in their 30s, like, the birth rate's gone down. Mm-hmm. So, like, obviously, yeah, people are working, but people are chasing jobs and stuff like that. Now, will our generation, probably people that are hitting their 30s now, just going into their 20s, in 40, 50 years, will we look back and say, oh, like, the birth rate's declining, this kind of thing? Will these have an impact on us? We won't know until this time comes around, but it might do. It's the kind of birth age people having kids is going up. So yeah, and you look on TV when there were 18-year-olds having babies, they'd have TV shows about it because they were seen as like this big failure. And now this doesn't mean you have to have kids as soon as you start.
No, you have them when you're ready, and obviously some people, like, if you're chasing a career that you want to be able to get there and enjoy it a little bit, because then kids are a huge responsibility in themselves. But
you don't want to chase a hierarchy job
that you're not actually enjoying.
Or you might enjoy, but you might get to it, and you might just be like, oh, well, now I'm getting 70 grand a year instead of the 20 I started on, or 100 grand instead of the 30 I started on. But I've not had kids. I'm a woman that's 45, and now
at that point you're also running the risk of not being able to have kids. Like, you're obviously at your peak at like 18, 19, 20. Not that you should. I feel like obviously right now I would not financially, like emotionally, just for myself, the career, I would not have kids right now. But the later you leave it, the more chance you run of not being able to have kids or issues throughout the pregnancy. So I feel like it's kind of trying to get that balance. You don't want to leave it too late, but also if you're not ready to have it early on, then you're not ready to have them early on.
But you can't, if I was a woman and you're looking around from guys and there's a lot, and say in 10 years, how many men are going to be responsible for a lot of things? It's probably going to be a lot less than it is now. It's going to be a lot less than it was 50, 60 years ago. So, like, a lot of women go, well, I'm not ready. I'm not finding, people aren't going to match. People are saying it's going to be hard for people to match up. And I think it all comes down to not everyone's getting comfortable. It's a multi-dimensional problem. There's so many different avenues, but from what we've seen with clients, people are living too comfortably. They're doing things that really don't bring them much joy. Just go home, watch TV. It's like, you sound unhappy speaking about it. Why are you going to do it? Oh, I'm tired. Why? Because of work. Okay. And then you ask them how much they slept. Oh, sleeping 6 hours. Okay, so you fix their sleep, but they're eating crap, or they're on their phone right up until the moment they go to bed. And that's going to affect your sleep.
Well, I think people don't realise how many factors all affect it. They're like, but I fit in sleep. I should be feeling more energized. And it's like, well, no. You also have to take all these other habits and factors into consideration as well, like your diet, like those daily habits. You waking up, going for the cold showers. That's going to make you feel more energized. And it's taken into consideration every single little factor, and there's a lot of them.
Well, that's the same with the comfort zone. So there's obviously, we spoke about the cold dips. Now there's so many different things that go into comfort zone. Even a mental change of saying, right, I'm going to be more positive today, and say if something, I've said this to clients last week, if someone walks into you in town, right, and they're storming through town, they walk into you, and then you're like, it barges you a wee bit. Now you can either just be like, well, they've annoyed. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes there's different levels to these things. Right, if someone crashes into your car, you're not just gonna be like driving away,
yeah.
right? But like someone walks into your town, you can either. I was showed two different examples. The one person goes, okay, that person having a bad day, carries on with their life, or the other person goes to work, tells someone walked into me in town today, and they're raging about it. They're built up in it.
That's the whole thing of how you react is a reflection of yourself rather than the actual situation or that person. So like no one can actually make you feel the emotion. It's you that's...
Well, and technically we don't have, like, things don't happen to us. Things happen. Mm-hmm. We react to things. So technically nothing actually, this bad thing happened to me yesterday.
This thing happened, and it's how you're interpreting it. So that's the whole thing of like your internal world.
And that's very uncomfortable.
External. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are like that. This is going to be, like, for a lot of people, you're not going to be like this 24/7. No. But there's a lot of people that are, 90% of their day is very, something simply tiny will happen. And that's set off today. And then they could just get into a bit of happiness again, and then something else goes. And this is just going to make everything harder. You're not going to want to go home and do all the things you want to do. You're going to sit and do the thing that brings you instant happiness right there, which is the thing you're trying to stop.
Long term doesn't bring you happiness.
Because I think if you've got a passion and you should be spending 2 hours doing that, and you've watched a TV show in a week, people will say, I started a TV show, and a week later they're like, finish it. I'm like, is there like three seasons or something of that? And they're like, yeah, 3 seasons, and there's 10 episodes or something. Each episode's an hour long, but yeah, it's about you spend like 30 hours in a week, and you're like...
Well, then people say they don't have time to do all these extra things, and it's like, well, if you look at that and you spent 30 hours a week...
Well, screen time's the best one.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people say, don't have time. You say screen time, and then they go, but I've got... And it's like, I'm trying to get mine lower every week. And this is, I say 90% of it is based on work. So I'm basically trying to get my work done in a quicker amount of time than I did last week. And that's hard as it is. But like, I've sacrificed all the stupid scrolling time. I went and muted and unfollowed things that I was following on my PT page that I didn't want to see.
Yeah, because you end up getting sucked in. If it's things that you're not really wanting to see, you kind of get sucked in. Like when I go on my normal Insta account, I instantly just feel myself like comparing myself to others and get sucked into it pretty quickly, and I need to quickly be like, right, stop this. Cause...
There's a big comparison between the two. The normal Instagram is very much people going out drinking on a Saturday. On a Sunday morning, you go through that.
Yeah,
it's just
Saturday nights out.
Saturday nights out.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like...
Well, it could be the first night out the person's had in 6 weeks. Like my probably only photos is when I go see friends. Usually it's every few months or something, and it's to do something like that. We're going out or seeing each other, and it's, I suppose it
and you do want to post photos of it.
Yeah, you post a photo, but for some it's every, week, and then Friday, Saturday, that kind of thing. It's just interesting. It's where you're spending your money. It might be uncomfortable for you.
That's another thing. People are spending their money on a lot of things that aren't actually helping them in any way, and then they're getting kind of more stressed out because they've got these financial stresses, and it's like, well, you could save money by not spending it on all these things that are not actually helping your overall health or happiness.
So I think there's a lot of different aspects. We've probably covered other things other than the comfort zone.
We've kind of wandered about a little bit.
But it does come back to it's starting with one change. Now I wrote down some ideas for podcasts, and one of them would be the compound effect. Now, this is a book I read, and it was probably, like I always say this, oh, it's one of the best books I've ever read, and I say about a lot of the books. Now there is books I'm like, it was good, but it wasn't amazing. The Compound Effect was amazing. Now it's the most simple thing in the world to break it down. Now I would say to read the book, but in short terms, it's literally like, say you need to go run a marathon, right? You don't go, okay, I'm going to train for a marathon, right? I'm just going to go see how fast I can do a marathon for day one. No, you go out for a jog, all right? You don't even start with a jog. You might just go out for a long walk and plan how your training is going to be. That could be your compound effect. It's starting with the smallest, tiniest task that over a year is, you start off with 1%. You start off with a tiny thing. Now for me, it was, say you go into the gym, right? You don't go into a 6-day, 2-hour program a day, morning and evenings, hammering the weights in the morning, cardio, because you'll fail after 2 days. You start off with
they go,
1 day a week.
Try and go too intensely to begin with. So then after the first week, they're like, oh, that's too hard, I'm not doing it. Where if you take those baby steps to get there and gradually, consistently increase what you're doing, you're going to get there. Even though it might seem like it's going to take longer, you will get there in the end. We're going in too intense at the beginning, you're just going to give up.
Well, they show a good example in the book, and it's about, I think it's about getting money, and I think it's about if you get is it a penny or something, or $1 the first day, and he's like, you can get that doubled every day, or you can get like $5 million. It's something like that. And basically, the person's like, oh, they see the $1 and they're like, that's so small. And then the other person says, oh, I'll take the $5 million, taking that. And then one person says, I'll take the $1 million. And as it doubles, within a certain amount, you see how fast it doubles. And then before you know it, they have like 10 times the amount of money as the other one. And it's just a good way of showing everything you start off on is going to be so tiny and so small. And if you look at other people, you go on Instagram, or you see someone, it might put you off your big goal, but you're in your chapter 1, they're in their chapter 200, and you look at like a professional athlete, you see them kicking the ball about, and you're like, oh, they're amazing.
Well, that's also when you want to kind of try and to stop comparing yourself to others, because I'm always saying that to clients, like when they start comparing themselves to others, I feel like they don't do as well for themselves, or when they're just looking at their own journey and the own things they need to do, they start being able to do those baby steps, because they're not like, I need to get to this point. They're just like, right, I just need to keep kind of gradually.
That's what makes it the least amount of discomfort, I'd say. Mm-hmm. So like the cold shower, start off with going down a little bit for 30 seconds. Then the next day, go down to even the same amount and do 60 seconds. Then you could go down until you get to 2 minutes. Then you go down a little bit of the temperature for 30 seconds again. And then just work that tiny change over a month would be you down at the bottom for 2 minutes. Whereas on the first day, if I said get in for 2 minutes in the bottom country, I can never do that.
Or they would, and then be like, I'm not doing that again.
Well, you could never do it at that moment in time. You probably would jump out. But this is the thing, it's the gradual, tiny, wee
Well, look,
change.
even as when you're a baby, you don't just start walking. You have to kind of start moving, start crawling, and then you gradually start walking.
Well, that's a process of years, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, it's not going to happen overnight. And it's the same with getting rid of the uncomfortable tasks. Day one, okay, well, I'm cancelling Netflix. Now, cold turkey works for some people. It doesn't work for others.
Oh, I hate cold turkey.
That's the thing. So it might be hard for some people to do that. Some people, I've done it with things before, cold turkey, cut it out, it works. Now, for some, it's going to be very difficult. You can reverse compound effect, right? You spend 10 hours a week watching Netflix. Okay, go down to 9 hours, then 8 hours,
Work it down.
7 hours. Okay, then restrict the days you can watch it, or the times. Now, it doesn't mean you can never watch, this is the thing, you can never watch Netflix again. There's some great films and stuff that come out that, it might be, you want to watch this film. That's fine, but get your work done. If you're watching 7 hours of Netflix in the evening and you've got work to do, or you've not done the thing you want to do, or you're not happy with where your life is, that's not going to speed it up.
Help
You're using that as an escape. So it's...
Well, that's kind of like, it's similar to like people who use drinking as an escape. It's just a different kind of escape, essentially.
And that has, we know that has very negative side effects. Any alcoholic that's recovered would say it's very negative side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't know the long-term side effects just yet. Well, we do have TV, but of Netflix and things, you've got instant, you just keep going, and there's new films every week, and it's all like...
Or even on like Insta, just scrolling.
Well, that's it, there's new stuff, new features. This is all to keep you in. Well, there's a good book, How to Break Up With Your Phone, and it says in that, a guy created an app, and I think it was to do with restricting your amount of time on your phone, so it was to do with the app. Now, the App Store banned this app. There was nothing wrong on the app, there's nothing illegal, but but they didn't want, this app was doing so well at keeping people off their phone and keeping them off of apps. These big money-making machines, Instagram or Facebook, basically the Meta, all this kind of thing, they don't want you spending less time on their apps.
Because they want more people on their apps.
They want more traffic. They want more money. It's more revenue for them. They make it so difficult for you to leave. Now, the simple fixes you can do for your phone, turn it into black and white on your settings. I did that in the lockdown because I was like, well, there wasn't as much to do, and I found like I was sinking of just like seeing what everyone was, because a lot of people were posting, because there was nothing, well, I say nothing else to do, there was a lot to do, but nothing else to do, people were posting a lot, so I ended up on my phone looking at what people were up to more and not doing, so I thought, right, I need to stop this, so put my phone in black and white, and it makes your phone so boring to look at, you just kind of, you chuck it down, and it's just easy, you don't find it hard to chuck it down. Now I can go, I go out and walk without my phone, I'll leave it here. There's a lot of stuff about EMS, this is stuff we're still trying to learn about, but it's definitely not healthy for you carrying a phone around 24/7.
Definitely got its advantages, but
for sure.
It's not healthy to the extent that we use them, I don't think.
No, and the people there's so many people out there that could be the world's best in a certain field that are now sat watching Netflix.
Sucked into all of it.
Yeah, scrolling on and it's when people scroll.
And it is addictive, like, you can't blame people.
Scrolling on the phone as they watch the Netflix.
Oh, I always, if I was, not that I do it often, but if I put something on the TV, I often find myself just scrolling on my phone at the same time. But
it's too, you know what I mean? It's like, it's trying to, and there's a lot of stuff about the dopamine, you know, what this does to you. That's a whole podcast in its own. We've probably gone over a lot.
Yeah, and I think we should probably wrap up.
We'll try break up the comfort zone in some posts and things that people can actually take actions to kind of reduce things. We'll talk about the phone, Netflix, because this isn't things that we've been perfect on. It's like we've never watched Netflix or scrolled on our phone before.
It's kind of what we've learned from our own experience and still are learning from.
And there's nothing wrong with it. But if you think your amount of time on these things is bad, then we're gonna say what's helped us, clients, people we know, what might help you, and why it makes your life a lot better, without a doubt. So we'll wrap it up there.
Thanks for listening, I guess.
Episode number 2. Let us know what you think, and yeah, we're doing a Q&A for the next episode. So we'll answer some questions. If you haven't already answered the second question, I think it's going to come down in a few hours. Send us a message on Train Routine, the Instagram, on the YouTube, on the comment section, or
even just one of our Instas.
Or any of us, just message if you know us, just Strength Odyssey on Power Movement. And thanks again.